Coming up today, a top U.S. think tank urges Washington to strengthen its regional missile defense in the Asia-Pacific region. It says deploying the THAAD system to South Korea would be a good start. Global stocks enter a technical bear market, down 20% from their 2015 peak. The trigger for the turbulence is the plunging price of oil and China's slowing growth. First speaking at the World Economic Forum, former Finance Minister Che Kyung-hwan calls for deregulation. He says red tape hurts Korea's chances of becoming a truly creative economy. Stay tuned for these stories and more. Hello, it's noon on Thursday, the 21st of January. You're tuned in to our midday newscast here on Arirang TV. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mark Broom. Our top story this afternoon. A think tank in the United States has recommended the deployment of a US-made anti-ballistic missile system to South Korea to deal with the growing threat posed by North Korea. Speculation about the possible deployment of the so-called THAAD system refuses to die down, but the South Korean and US governments insist no official talks have been held. Connie Kim starts us off.
Deploying the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System to the Korean Peninsula will protect South Korea from North Korea's growing missile threats. That's the assessment of the U.S.-based think tank, Center for Strategic and International Studies. The report comes a little over 2 weeks after North Korea tested its fourth nuclear bomb.
Purchasing more missiles and stockpiling them and more launchers so that they're available in the Pacific should they be needed.
The Washington-based center said it would take South Korea too long to develop its own missile defense system, so THAAD would be the better option. Seoul aims to develop its own indigenous anti-missile defense systems, the Korea Air Missile Defense System and Kill Chain, by the early 2020s. Once operational, they would be able to intercept low-altitude missiles. THAAD is capable of intercepting incoming missiles at high altitudes. However, the U.S. think tank's suggestion is unlikely to be realized anytime soon. South Korea insists no formal talks have taken place on THAAD. And the U.S. Deputy Secretary of State in Seoul this week for talks on North Korea had this to say.
We've made no decision on THAAD, and in any event, as we've been very clear about, we will only proceed with that in full consultation with our Korean partners.
The system's potential deployment to the Korean Peninsula is a sensitive issue in Northeast Asia. As Beijing is concerned, THAAD's powerful radar system could be used to monitor mainland China. Connie Kim, Arirang News.
Now, President Park Geun-hye presided over an integrated defense meeting earlier today in recognition of the gravity of the national security situation after North Korea's latest nuclear test. Our presidential office correspondent Song Ji-sun has the details.
Cabinet members and over 230 officials from Korea's spy agency, the military, the prosecutor's office, the police and local governments assembled at the presidential office of Cheongwade on Thursday for the 49th Central Integrated Defense meeting. President Park, who chaired the meeting, called for full defense readiness in the wake of North Korea's fourth nuclear test 2 weeks ago and regional security conditions in it outside of the Korean Peninsula. The Korean government vowed to coordinate its national security forces and discuss countermeasures against biological attacks, cyber attacks, and terrorism from any entity or country, including North Korea. Song Ji-sun, Arirang News.
Korea's finance minister has once again pledged to push through with structural reforms in the labor, finance, education and public sectors to create more jobs, especially for the nation's young people. Han Da-eun has this report.
New Finance Chief Yoo Il-ho has made clear that he will put job creation above all else on his to-do list for this year. During his first meeting with economy ministers on Thursday, Yoo stressed the necessity of creating jobs for young people and urged swift passage of a pending set of economy bills at the National Assembly to boost employment.
Job creation is our top priority, and along with it, we will pursue structural reforms and economic innovation. To do that, three things are required. First is the passage of pending bills, second is fostering new growth engines, and third, revitalizing the domestic economy and exports.
In February, Korea will have a new set of measures to boost investment in new markets like biohealth and the sports industry. The government will also lay out plans to further promote promising consumer goods, such as agricultural and beauty products, by making the most out of Korea's free trade deal with China. 한다은, Arirang News.
Now, the volatility continues as global oil prices have tumbled even further, now to 13-year lows. And this has wreaked havoc in markets around the world, many of which have seen their benchmarks stocks actually fall more than 20% from their 2015 peak. And this puts them in so-called bear market territory. Oh Soo-young has this report.
Stocks took a battering on Wednesday as global oil prices sank to 13-year lows at below $27 per barrel. US benchmark West Texas Intermediate prices for February delivery plunged 6.7%, hitting $26.55 a barrel. It ended slightly up from an intraday low of 26.19 cents a barrel, its weakest price since May 2003. This caused a panic in global markets, prompting heavy sell-offs around the world. The MSCI Global Stock Market Index, which measures 46 developed and emerging markets, dropped more than 20% from its intraday high in April last year, thus entering the bear market territory. Britain's blue-chip FTSE 100 slid 3.46%, closing more than 20% down from its intraday high in April last year. Stocks in a number of countries, including China, Greece and Russia, are down by more than 40% from their highs. US stocks also slumped, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average dropping 1.56%. Japan's Nikkei officially fell into a bear market on Wednesday, down 22% from its peak last June, but it regained 0.7% from the previous close when market opened on Thursday. Korea's benchmark Kospi closed Wednesday with its biggest daily percentage loss in 5 months, but opened slightly up by 0.14% on Thursday. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.
Now to the ongoing coverage we have of the World Economic Forum, of course, that's happening in the Swiss Alpine town of Davos. And the Internet of Things, robotics, driverless cars and 3D printers. These are just some of the key technologies that will lead the so-called fourth industrial revolution. A new report says countries with advanced economies will benefit the most from the developments, but where exactly does Korea stand? Our Kim Min-ji reports from Davos.
The theme of this year's World Economic Forum is Mastering the Fourth Industrial Revolution. It's where cutting-edge technologies are becoming embedded in our daily lives, making everything faster and more convenient. But is the world ready to adapt? According to Swiss bank UBS, advanced countries are Switzerland topped the list, followed by Singapore, the Netherlands, Finland, and the United States. Korea ranked 25th. The ability to adapt to the fourth industrial revolution was measured in 5 categories: labor market flexibility, educational system, infrastructure, technological ability, and legal protection. Korea's former finance chief, Choi Kyung-hwan, who is representing Seoul and Davos as a special presidential envoy, says Korea's creative economy drive is in line with the fourth industrial revolution. The creative economy drive is aimed at merging different sectors and turning creative ideas into new business opportunities to create new jobs and industries. Speaking at a press conference, Choi said Korea needs to pursue new industry policies.
Having the right infrastructure is important. In order for our creative economy drive to work, we have to strip back regulations. As it stands, it's difficult to be innovative. Therefore, we have to cut back on red tape. Secondly, Korea needs to have an ecosystem which can tend to such developments.
Korea's former finance chief also emphasized the need for a flexible labor market and a workforce that can keep up with the rapid pace of technological developments and industry trends. Kim Min-ji, Arirang News, Davos.
Now, what's the best country in the world? You might be able to guess by the flag behind me, but a study out of the United States says it is Germany. Next on the list was Canada, And it was followed, as you can see on the list there, by the United Kingdom. South Korea came in 19th out of the 60 countries surveyed in the US News and World Report's Best Countries poll. More than 16,000 people from 36 countries took part in the survey. The countries were evaluated in 24 different categories, such as entrepreneurship, citizenship, power and quality of life. The ranking was released to coincide with the opening of the World Economic Forum in Davos. IBM has reported its 15th straight quarter of sales decline, despite maintaining its position as the US patent leader for well over 20 years now. The American IT firm says its fourth quarter sales in 2015 fell to $22.1 billion US. That's down 8.5% from a year ago. It attributed the shrink in sales to the strong dollar. IBM also reported a 19% drop in net profit to $4.5 billion US. However, IBM maintained its top spot in US utility patents for the 23rd straight year, hovering above Korea's own Samsung and Canon. The United States, France and other coalition partners have vowed to step up their fight against the extremist group that calls itself Islamic State. They described the time as vital as the coalition has made significant progress in recent weeks. Son Jong-in has the details.
U.S. Defense Secretary Ashton Carter says defense ministers from France and 5 other countries have agreed to accelerate and intensify the U.S.-led campaign against the Islamic State militant group in Iraq and Syria. Carter was speaking at a news conference after talks in Paris with his counterparts from France, Australia, Germany, Italy, the Netherlands, and Britain.
We agreed that we all must do more. I believe today's discussion gave every minister the opportunity to discuss with their governments what else they can bring to the table and how they can better align their efforts with our common goals and strategy.
Carter said the alliance's main goal was to retake 2 major ISIS strongholds, Mosul in northern Iraq and the Syrian city of Raqqa, the group's self-proclaimed capital. France's defense minister, who co-hosted the meeting, said the timing was right to increase their bombardment of ISIS, which has suffered a number of setbacks in recent months.
Our joint efforts are starting to bear fruit. That's what we have been able to observe, and we've noticed that ISIS has been put on the back foot.
The U.S. and France are continuing to criticize Russia for targeting opposition forces fighting Syrian President Bashar al-Assad. The defense ministers are scheduled to hold a meeting next month with all 26 military members of the anti-ISIS campaign in Brussels, including Gulf Arab states. Son Jong-in, Arirang News.
Now, it turns out 2015 fulfilled scientists' grim predictions that it would be the warmest year ever recorded. Everywhere experts looked, from the icy wastelands of Siberia to rainforests in South America, they found record to near record warmth. EG1 has more.
2015 was the hottest year on record, according to the U.S.-based National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration and NASA on Wednesday. In fact, it was the hottest year in 136 years since record-keeping began in 1880, and the 4th time the record has been broken in 11 years. The average surface temperature last year was 14.8 degrees Celsius, topping the record set the year before by about 0.15 degrees, and well surpassing the 20th century average by 0.9 degrees. The intense warmth has produced weather extremes worldwide, such as a heat wave that killed about 2,500 people in India last spring, and the severe drought conditions and unusually high temperatures around the world. Scientists say the biggest culprits are global warming and a massive El Niño, which has joined 1997 to 1998 as the strongest El Niño ever observed. Human emissions of greenhouse gases have also aggravated the situation. One U.S. climate scientist told the New York Times that the odds of back-to-back records of 2014 and 2015 are remote and would only make sense if the planet were warming inexorably. With El Niño still going strong, there are concerns that new temperature records could be set this year. 이지원, Arirang News.
Now we have some more exciting space-related news because scientists think they might have found a new planet on the edges of our solar system. Dubbed Planet 9, it has not been observed directly yet, but astronomers at the California Institute of Technology noticed strange movements in objects in a region of space past Neptune called the Kuiper Belt that could only be explained by the presence of a large planetary object. Calculations say the planet would have a mass 10 times greater than Earth and have an elongated orbit. That means it takes 10,000 to 20,000 years to travel once around our sun. They say the planet has not been discovered because it's so far away. But with this new evidence, the head scientist says he would not be surprised if it was spotted in the next 5 years. Well, those are stories we've been following on this Thursday afternoon here in Seoul. Quite a packed newscast today. For more of the latest, don't forget to check out our website, arirang.com/news. We also have a very good smartphone application, which you can find by just searching for Arirang TV in the usual places. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.